we are starting out right in the kitchen this morning, making one of my favorite foods, cookies. And here to teach us how is a man who started his gourmet cookie business after leaving a career in tech. Michael Pinckney's Pinckney Cookie Cafe is a fan favorite at farmers markets in the Seattle area. And now he's opening up his first store in Kirkland. And to celebrate, he's in our kitchen this morning to whip up a batch of his famous miracle cookies. Welcome to New Day, Michael Pinckney, a.k.a. the Cookie Monster.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you, especially because these miracle cookies are for everyone. They're gluten-free, they're vegan, and they taste delicious, right?
That's why they're a miracle.
That's why they're a miracle.
That's why we name them, literally.
So how do you get started when making a gluten-free cookie? Because I have made many a gluten-free thing that has failed.
Uh-huh.
So I'm hoping you're going to give us some of the secrets, but how do we get started making the cookies?
Yeah, so the key thing with gluten-free baking is the gluten-free flour mix. Mm-hmm. This is a 10-ingredient gluten-free flour mix that I developed over literally months of experimenting.
10 ingredients?
Yeah, there are 10 different ingredients.
All right.
Yeah. You know, wheat's the magical ingredient, and there is no single substitute.
Right.
So you have to use a lot of ingredients to come up with something that's going to work like wheat.
I mean, it's literally science. You're trying to bond different molecules together, and so this is the secret sauce right here.
Yeah.
All right, so, well, you made the secret sauce. Some people will buy gluten-free flour, which me is somebody. Yeah. And then what do we do next?
Yeah, so then it's just like making a traditional cookie. Okay. Except that you need to do certain things differently with the substitutes.
Got it,
So we use two things to substitute for butter, because these are both vegan and gluten-free.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
So one is organic, unrefined coconut oil.
Oh, I'll get it for you. Okay. Yeah. All right, here it is, the coconut oil.
Yep. And this starts as a solid. We want it to actually work like a solid, like butter.
Right.
So that's why it was in the refrigerator. Ideally, it would be cooler.
Okay,
but,
so
we don't have a lot of time.
The funny thing is living here in the Pacific Northwest, my coconut oil is always solid.
Right.
So you're gonna scoop it out and throw it in there, right?
Yeah. So this. No. So you want to melt it.
Oh, you want to melt it.
Yeah, but you want it to come up to close to room temperature. Coconut oil melts right around, or transitions between solid and liquid, right around 77 degrees.
Okay.
77, 76,
77 degrees. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
So if I was making this, like our miracle cookies in the shop, I would let it get up to temp. But and so you start with the coconut oil. We also use organic applesauce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
and applesauce is interesting because it does a little bit of what butter does, and it also does a little bit of what eggs do.
Interesting.
Yeah, but we're using it as a substitute for the butter. Okay. So we start with the sugars. I have brown sugar and white sugar.
All right. Just a little bit of sugar, not much.
Interestingly enough, most cookies, the number one ingredient is sugar or flour. Our cookies, the number one ingredient is dark Belgian chocolate.
Now that is what, I already snuck one of these little chocolates and they're delicious, so I can't wait to taste the cookie.
So now we're gonna pour in the coconut oil.
Okay.
And then we're gonna turn it on, and we want this to oops, that's the wrong one. We want this to come together, and then once this comes together, we're going to add in the applesauce. Okay. And we're going to turn it on high, and as high as we can go before it starts coming out.
Before it starts attacking us.
Exactly. Coconut oil is a little funny to work with because if the bowl's a little cold, then it can start to solidify and stick to it, etc.
Well,
so
that's
I'm going to
actually
just scrape it down.
A good tip because I keep my mixer in the garage because I don't have space in my kitchen.
For sure.
So heat the bowl up is the key when making
Yeah, but again, you want everything sort of around room temperature.
Room temp. Okay,
when you make traditional cookies with butter, you don't have to worry about temperature a lot. But when you're making the vegan gluten-free cookies, paying attention to the temperature is important because if this is totally liquid, then you're not going to build that structure that you do when you mix, like when you cream butter with sugar. It gets air into the mix, and it builds structure. It becomes like a paste or like a but if it's liquid, it doesn't work as well.
Right, and that's not something I had ever thought about with gluten-free baking, that temperature matters. So.
Yeah, it's more with the vegan part than gluten-free, because ours are both vegan and gluten-free.
The vegan part, okay.
For the gluten-free, it's really much more similar. The biggest difference is if you look at this flour, it's a lot heavier than flour, that regular all-purpose flour.
Yeah.
So that has an impact on the the hydration of the flour from the liquid ingredients.
Right.
It has an impact on the baking soda, salt, et cetera. Not salt, but baking soda, the leavening ingredients is what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
Yeah. So in any event, we're mixing that, and you can see it's starting to come together and become more homogeneous.
And getting all crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Okay.
so the next part I'd like to ask you about, because I think that's so fascinating, is the flaxseed and water. So this is the flaxseed, right? And then you add the water. What does this do?
Yeah, so this is a substitute for eggs.
Oh, okay.
And what you want to do is you want the water to be really hot. So we typically in the shop heat it up to around 200 degrees.
Okay.
It's not that precise. We just want it to be.
Just want it to be almost boiling.
Yeah, almost boiling. And if it is boiling, that's fine. But it just comes together better when you do that.
And it makes this kind of
egg-like.
Like, look at this.
Yeah.
It makes like an egg-like kind of consistency. See that, y'all? That's
so we
cool.
bring that down to we put that in the refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it starts at that, that boils, you mix it together. It tends to separate it out, so then you mix it again.
Okay.
And when it's
So
finished,
keep it
when
mixing.
it stops separating out, then you can put it in the refrigerator and let it come down to
Perfect.
to cold.
So
And-
sorry to interrupt. As I let you continue to add the ingredients in so we can get our cookies started, I want to just ask you, you started in tech. How did you say, I'm going to make cookies. I'm going to be the cookie monster. How did that all happen?
I was born a cookie monster. I grew up baking at my mother's knee.
Aww.
Yeah, I was one of 4 boys, and we could have whatever we wanted all the time, just no junk food. So you couldn't bring it in, but you could help make it. So we always had cookies and cakes and brownies and pies, and I loved baking. Yeah. So this cookie, the Pinckney Original, started as a Toll House cookie recipe in my New York City apartment. Yeah, in the 1980s. Don't touch it. That one is not. Don't touch it. Don't eat it because you're gluten-free.
Oh,
those are not gluten-free.
Okay, that's right.
You can have this one though.
Okay.
That's the miracle version of the Pinckney Original.
See, so Pinckney Cookies is not just gluten-free. It's
No.
all the cookies. And you made these in your New York City apartment?
That started and then these 2 cookies I developed over literally decades just for fun because I'm a cookie monster. And people raved about them so much that I started a company. Yeah, so now we ship online anywhere in the country.
Look at
people
you.
send them to friends and family and their coworkers and their doctor and everything else.
That's
they
so
come
cool.
nicely
And
packaged.
and I understand you teach classes too.
Yeah. We on the website, if you go to Gifts and Specialties, we have at-home cooking baking parties. So
that's
we
neat.
teach all the secrets of either the gluten-free, vegan gluten-free ones or the traditional ones.
I think that's wonderful. I think it's so great. Everyone can be included, and no one gets to miss out on having a cookie. And you were testing our oven earlier, so these cookies are just warm out of the oven. Can I eat one of these?
Yeah, you can eat all of them.
I'm gonna
No,
eat all.
don't eat all of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That doesn't. You can't even tell it's gluten free.
Thank you. That's the idea.
I might keep eating, and I'm going to ask you, why was it important for you to have a gluten-free option?
Yeah, so when I first started the business, I used to be in Whole Food stores, and I used to demo in every store every week. And people would walk by my demo stand like this, and they'd say, "Are any of them gluten-free?"
Oh,
and
sad,
but
like,
only
yeah,
so much
sad.
of that your heart could take. And so I did gluten-free cookies, and then later on, when I was in farmers markets, the same deal would happen at the farmers market with people who were vegan.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't come up with gluten-free and vegan and traditional and try and manage all that. So I said, let me see if I could come up with a cookie that's both vegan and
I
gluten-free.
forgot this was vegan too.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
And interestingly enough, they say it's great to be good, but better to be lucky. I got lucky because when I made the gluten-free cookies vegan as well, they got better.
Oh.
So my 10-ingredient gluten-free flour mix works better with coconut oil and applesauce than it does with butter.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah, so that was just pure dumb luck.
Not maybe luck, but you've done a lot to build this wonderful, wonderful business. Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you, Cookie Monster,
thank
for
you.
cooking with me today.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure.
Oh, I hope you come back soon.